In a faraway galaxy, a human trading ship named the Star Voyager sailed through the dark, starry sky. The ship was big and strong, filled with precious goods from different planets. The crew, a group of brave humans, worked hard to keep the ship running smoothly. They were excited about their journey, but they had no idea what danger awaited them. On board, Captain Mark looked out at the endless space through the large window. He smiled at his crew, who were busy checking supplies and talking. "We have to make this trip a success," he shouted, full of energy. The crew cheered in response, feeling ready for the challenges ahead. Meanwhile, far away, an alien ship hovered in the shadows of a nearby asteroid. This ship belonged to a group of space pirates, known for their cunning and skill. Their leader was an alien girl named Zara. She was small but fierce, with bright green skin and sharp eyes that sparkled with mischief. Zara had a reputation for being one of the best pirates in the galaxy. Zara watched the Star Voyager from the control room of her ship, the Shadow Raider. She studied the humans and their ship, planning her attack. "This will be easy," she said with a sly smile. "Those humans won't see us coming." Her crew, made up of tough alien warriors, listened closely as she shared her plan. "We will strike when they are least expecting it. We'll take their goods and escape before they even know what happened." Zara's crew cheered, ready for action. As the Star Voyager continued its journey, Zara and her crew prepared for the heist. They checked their weapons, loaded their ship with stealth technology, and practiced their attack. Zara felt confident. This was going to be a big win for her crew. The time had come. Zara signaled her crew to move. The Shadow Raider swooped down towards the Star Voyager, hidden behind the asteroid. The pirate ship looked like a shadow against the dark space, making it hard to see. Zara's heart raced with excitement as they got closer. Suddenly, alarms blared on the Star Voyager. "We've been spotted," shouted one of the crew members. Captain Mark quickly ordered everyone to their stations. "Prepare for battle," he yelled, his voice strong and clear. The crew jumped into action, grabbing their weapons and taking defensive positions. Zara smirked as she saw the humans scrambling. "They are scared," she thought. "This will be easier than I thought." She ordered her crew to fire warning shots, which struck the ship's hull. The humans jumped, startled by the sudden attack. "Return fire," Captain Mark shouted, his voice filled with determination. The humans fought back, and soon, beams of light filled the dark space as both ships exchanged fire. The battle was fierce, and chaos erupted around them. Zara felt a thrill as she led her crew into the fray, dodging laser beams and maneuvering her ship with skill. In the heat of the battle, Zara spotted Captain Mark on the human ship. He stood tall and brave, rallying his crew and directing their attacks. For a moment, their eyes met across the battlefield. Zara felt a strange flutter in her chest, something she had never felt before. "What is this?" she thought, confused by the feeling. As the fight continued, Zara focused on her mission. She ordered her crew to board the human ship. They activated their teleportation devices and appeared on the deck of the Star Voyager. The humans fought fiercely, but the pirates were strong and experienced. Zara led the charge, dodging the humans' attacks as she fought her way through the ship. She moved quickly, searching for the valuable goods that would make her crew rich. But as she fought, she couldn't shake the memory of Captain Mark's intense gaze. It made her heart race in a way she didn't understand. Finally, Zara and her crew reached the cargo hold, where they found crates filled with treasures from across the galaxy. "We did it," she shouted, her excitement bubbling over. "Load them up." But just as they started to collect their prize, a loud explosion shook the ship. The humans had set off an emergency device, trying to take back control. Zara stumbled, trying to regain her balance, and looked around for her crew. "We have to go now," she yelled, her heart pounding. As they rushed to escape, Zara couldn't help but think about Captain Mark. She had come here to steal, but now she was feeling something unexpected. "Why do I care about him?" she wondered, feeling confused and curious. With the humans hot on their trail, Zara and her crew made their way back to the Shadow Raider. They'd barely escaped as the human ship fired more blasts, trying to stop them. Zara's heart raced, but she felt a strange thrill of excitement. They had stolen the treasure, but something inside her had changed. As they flew away from the Star Voyager, Zara glanced back at the human ship. "This isn't over," she whispered to herself, her thoughts swirling with new feelings and possibilities. Zara had come to steal, but she was leaving with more than just treasure. The encounter with Captain Mark had opened her heart to something she never expected. The attack. Zara sat in the control room of the Shadow Raider, her heart racing with excitement and nerves. The thrill of the fight still buzzed in her veins, but now she had something more to think about. The memory of Captain Mark's intense gaze haunted her mind. "What is happening to me?" she wondered, shaking her head to clear her thoughts. Her crew was busy preparing for the next phase of their plan. They gathered weapons, checked the ship's systems, and loaded the stolen cargo into secure holds. "We need to leave quickly before the humans find us," one of her crew members said, his voice tense. "Not yet," Zara replied, her voice firm. "We'll make sure they remember this day. We need to strike again, but we need to be smart about it." She had a plan, and she was determined to see it through. As the Shadow Raider floated in the shadows of the nearby asteroid belt, Zara watched the human ship through the viewfinder. The Star Voyager looked strong, but Zara knew it was vulnerable. She could see the crew moving about on deck, trying to regroup after the earlier battle. Zara felt a spark of excitement. This was her chance. "Prepare for another attack," she commanded her crew. They nodded, their faces set with determination. They knew they had to work together to succeed. Zara felt the energy in the air, and it fueled her resolve. The pirates loaded their weapons and activated their stealth systems, making the Shadow Raider invisible to the human ship's sensors. Zara felt the thrill of the hunt. She had always loved the rush of battle, but now it was different. She felt the weight of her crew's expectations and her own feelings for Captain Mark pressing on her heart. "Let's move," Zara shouted, her voice filled with excitement. She piloted the ship towards the Star Voyager, weaving expertly through the asteroids. The crew watched the human ship closely, ready for the moment to strike. As they approached, the alarms on the Star Voyager blared again. The humans were alert, and Captain Mark shouted orders to his crew. "Prepare for another attack. We need to be ready." His voice was strong and steady, echoing through the ship. Zara felt a mix of fear and thrill as she saw the humans scrambling to defend themselves. "They are ready for us," she thought, a flicker of doubt creeping into her mind, but she shook it off. "We can do this." The pirates fired a few warning shots at the human ship, hoping to catch them off guard. The blasts lit up the dark space like fireworks. The Star Voyager shook as the humans retaliated. The battle had begun. Zara led her crew in a fierce attack, dodging laser beams and maneuvering their ship with skill. The adrenaline pumped through her as they fought. She felt alive, but in the back of her mind, she couldn't shake the thought of Captain Mark. Why did he make her feel this way? "Focus, Zara," her first mate, Krog, shouted, pulling her from her thoughts. "We need to get aboard the ship." She nodded, pushing her feelings aside. There was no time for distractions. With one final maneuver, Zara brought the Shadow Raider in close to the Star Voyager. "Boarding party, go," she yelled, and her crew prepared to teleport onto the human ship. They moved quickly, knowing this was their chance. In an instant, they materialized on the deck of the Star Voyager. The humans were ready for them, and a fierce battle erupted. Zara fought hard, her heart pounding in her chest. She dodged attacks and swung her weapon with precision. The thrill of the fight filled her with energy. As they fought their way through the ship, Zara's eyes kept searching for Captain Mark. She wanted to see him again, to understand the strange feelings growing inside her. But the chaos of battle made it difficult to focus. "Stay together," she shouted to her crew as they advanced. They moved as one, pushing through the humans' defenses. Zara could hear the shouts of the human crew as they tried to fight back, but the pirates were determined. Just then, Zara spotted Captain Mark in the distance. He was fighting bravely, his eyes scanning the area. For a moment, time seemed to stop as they locked eyes again. Zara felt a jolt of electricity pass between them. It was a powerful connection, one that she couldn't ignore. "Zara," Krog shouted, pulling her back to reality. "We need to keep moving." She shook her head, clearing her thoughts. There was no time for distractions. "Right," she yelled, pushing forward. They continued to fight, but Zara's mind was torn between her mission and her feelings for the human captain. As the battle raged on, Zara noticed that some of her crew were starting to falter. They were outnumbered, and the humans fought fiercely to protect their ship. Zara felt a flicker of doubt. "What am I doing?" she thought. "Is this worth it?" Just then, the alarms on the Star Voyager blared louder than before. The humans had activated their emergency defense systems, and the ship shook violently. Zara and her crew were thrown off balance, and chaos erupted around them. "Retreat!" Zara shouted, realizing they had to get out before it was too late. They had taken some treasures, but the battle was turning against them. The thrill of the fight was quickly fading into panic. As they turned to escape, Zara caught one last glimpse of Captain Mark. He was fighting hard, his face set with determination. In that moment, she knew this wasn't just about treasure anymore. Something deeper was pulling at her heart. With her crew in tow, Zara led the way back to the Shadow Raider. They jumped onto their ship, and she quickly set the course to flee from the Star Voyager. The battle may have ended, but for Zara, a new journey was just beginning. A change of heart. Zara sat in the control room of the Shadow Raider, her mind racing. The thrill of the battle still buzzed in her veins, but something deeper had changed within her. As the ship floated in the dark void of space, she couldn't stop thinking about Captain Mark. His fierce determination and the way he had looked at her during the fight haunted her thoughts. "Zara, we need to check the cargo." Krog, her first mate, reminded her, pulling her from her daydream. He stood at the control panel, scanning their stolen goods. The excitement of their heist was fading, replaced by an unfamiliar feeling. "We got some good stuff, but we need to plan our next move." "Yeah, let's do that," Zara replied, her voice lacking its usual fire. She forced herself to focus on the cargo, but her mind kept drifting back to the human captain. "Why can't I shake this feeling?" she wondered. As they sorted through the treasure, Zara's crew celebrated their success. They laughed and cheered, but Zara felt distant. She watched her crew, feeling a mix of pride and confusion. They were happy, but her heart was heavy. She realized she didn't want to be just a pirate anymore. She wanted something more. "Zara, come join us," Krog called, noticing her lost expression. "We won. We deserve to celebrate." Zara forced a smile, but inside, she felt torn. "Maybe later," she said. "I need to think." She stepped away from the group, seeking a quiet place to sort through her feelings. In the dim light of the ship, Zara gazed out at the stars. They sparkled like diamonds, reminding her of the beauty of the universe, but she felt a void inside her. "I came to steal, but now I feel different," she thought, touching her chest where her heart raced. Suddenly, she remembered Captain Mark's eyes. The way he had looked at her during the battle made her heart flutter. She had come to steal from his ship, but now she wanted to understand him. "What is this feeling?" she whispered to herself. The more she thought about it, the more she realized how much she admired him. He was brave, smart, and fought for his crew. Zara felt a desire to know him, to understand what made him tick. "Maybe I need to see him again," she thought, the idea exciting and terrifying at the same time. As the ship drifted through space, Zara's crew celebrated in the background, but she couldn't join them. The noise felt distant, as if she were in a different world. She wanted to be with them, but her heart was elsewhere. What do I want? She asked herself. Is it treasure, or is it something more? Just then, Krog appeared beside her, sensing her struggle. What's going on, Zara? You've been quiet since we escaped. His concern was evident, and Zara appreciated his friendship. I don't know, Krog, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I feel different after today. I didn't just want to steal from the Star Voyager. I felt something. Something I can't explain. Krog raised an eyebrow. You mean about the human captain? I saw the way you looked at him. He smirked, teasing her. Are you falling for a human? Stop it. Zara snapped, but her heart raced at the thought. I don't know what I feel, but I can't shake it off. I came here to be a pirate, not to get tangled up with humans. But that's just it, isn't it? Krog replied, his tone serious. You're more than just a pirate. You're a leader. Maybe you should explore this feeling. It might change your life. Zara sighed, feeling a mix of frustration and excitement. What if it doesn't work out? What if I'm just being foolish? Foolish or brave? That's your choice, Krog said, his voice steady. But you won't know until you try. Zara pondered his words, her mind racing. What if I reach out to him? She thought. The idea felt both thrilling and terrifying. She knew she had to make a decision soon. That night, as the stars shone brightly, Zara lay in her bunk, unable to sleep. The ship was quiet, but her mind was loud with questions. What if Captain Mark is different from other humans? She wondered. What if he understands me? Finally, she made up her mind. I need to find out, she whispered to herself, determination filling her heart. She grabbed her communicator and began to craft a message to the human captain. It was risky, but she felt it was time to take a leap. As she typed the message, her heart raced. She wrote about their encounter, about her feelings, and the strange connection she had felt. It was honest and raw, and she hoped he would understand. Send, she said, pressing the button with a mixture of hope and fear. With that simple act, Zara felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She had taken a step towards something new, something different from her life as a pirate. She lay back in her bunk, staring at the ceiling, feeling both nervous and excited. Whatever happened next, she knew she was ready for a change. The stars outside twinkled, shining brightly as if encouraging her to embrace her new path. In that moment, Zara realized she was no longer just a pirate. She was a woman ready to follow her heart, no matter where it led her. Big news. The next day, Zara woke up with a mix of excitement and nervousness. She couldn't stop thinking about the message she had sent to Captain Mark. What will he say? She wondered as she prepared for the day. Her heart raced at the thought of hearing from him. As she made her way to the control room of the Shadow Raider, Zara noticed her crew was unusually quiet. They were gathered around Krog, who was looking at the ship's communication panel with a serious expression. Zara felt a twist of anxiety in her stomach. What's going on? She asked, her voice steady but laced with concern. Krog turned to her, his eyes wide. We received a message from the Star Voyager, he said, his voice low. It's from Captain Mark. Zara's heart skipped a beat. What does it say? She asked, eager to know. Krog hesitated for a moment, then said, he wants to talk to you. He wants to meet. The words hung in the air, and Zara felt a rush of emotions. Part of her was thrilled, while another part was terrified. He wants to meet me, she repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes, Krog confirmed, nodding. He mentioned something about discussing what happened during the attack. Zara took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. I need to prepare. This is big, she said, pacing the room. Her crew watched her closely, sensing the gravity of the moment. We'll support you, Zara, Krog said, stepping closer. This could change everything for you, and for us. Zara looked at her crew, feeling grateful for their loyalty. Thank you, she replied, her voice steady. I need to be ready for this meeting. I want to understand what this feeling means. As the hours passed, Zara and her crew worked on their ship, preparing for the encounter. They checked their weapons and made sure everything was in order. Zara felt a mix of anxiety and hope. What if this meeting goes well? She thought. What if we find common ground? Finally, the time came for the meeting. Zara stepped into the control room, where Krog had set up a communication link with the Star Voyager. Her heart raced as she took her place in front of the screen. I can do this, she told herself. Krog initiated the call, and soon, Captain Mark's face appeared on the screen. He looked serious, but also curious. Zara, he said, his voice warm yet cautious. Thank you for agreeing to talk. Zara felt a flutter in her chest as she looked into his eyes. Thank you for reaching out, Captain, she replied, trying to sound confident. I wanted to discuss what happened during the attack. I appreciate that, Captain Mark said, his expression softening. It was a strange encounter for both of us. I felt a connection during the battle. It was unexpected. Zara nodded, her heart racing. I felt it too, she admitted. I came to steal, but I left with something I didn't expect. I want to understand this feeling. Captain Mark smiled slightly, his eyes brightening. I think we both have a lot to learn from each other. Maybe we could start over. Zara felt a spark of hope. I'd like that. I don't want to be just a pirate. I want to understand what it means to connect with others, even if we come from different worlds. Mark's smile widened. Then let's take it one step at a time. Maybe we can meet in a neutral zone, somewhere safe for both of us. Zara's heart raced at the thought. That sounds perfect. Where do you suggest? There's a small planet called Verda, Mark replied. It's uninhabited and has beautiful landscapes. We can meet there and talk freely. Zara nodded eagerly. I'll arrange it. Thank you for being open to this. As they discussed the details, Zara felt a growing sense of excitement. This meeting was more than just a chance to talk. It was an opportunity for something new. This could change everything, she thought, her heart swelling with hope. Once they finalized their plans, Zara and Captain Mark shared a moment of silence, both lost in their thoughts. Finally, Mark spoke up. I look forward to seeing you, Zara. Let's make this meeting count. Me too, Captain, Zara replied, her voice steady. I'll see you soon. As the call ended, Zara turned to her crew, her face glowing with excitement. We're going to meet Captain Mark on Verda, she announced, her heart racing. The crew erupted into cheers, and Krog clapped Zara on the back. This is amazing. You're really doing it. I know, but this is just the beginning, Zara said, her voice filled with determination. I want to learn from him, and I want him to know that I'm not just a pirate. I can be more. As they prepared for the journey to Verda, Zara felt a mix of nerves and excitement. This was a turning point in her life. She was stepping away from the life of a pirate and into something new, something unknown. As they traveled through space, Zara gazed out at the stars, her heart filled with hope. She was ready to embrace this change and discover what lay ahead. No matter the outcome of her meeting with Captain Mark, she knew she was on the right path. For the first time in a long while, Zara felt a sense of purpose. She was no longer just a pirate. She was a woman ready to explore her heart and the possibilities that awaited her. Reaching out, the journey to Verda felt both short and long for Zara. As the Shadow Raider flew through space, she couldn't shake off her excitement and nerves. The closer they got to the planet, the more her heart raced. This is really happening, she thought, staring out at the stars. Zara had never felt so uncertain and hopeful at the same time. She spent hours preparing for the meeting, checking her outfit and making sure everything was perfect. I want to make a good impression, she told herself, smoothing her clothes. As they neared Verda, Krog walked into her room. Are you ready for this? He asked, a smile on his face. He could see the mix of emotions in Zara's eyes. I think so, she replied, taking a deep breath. But what if he doesn't like me? What if this doesn't work out? Krog placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Just be yourself. You're strong, smart, and brave. If he doesn't see that, it's his loss. Zara nodded, grateful for Krog's support. Thanks, Krog. You always know what to say. As they approached Verda, Zara could see its green landscape and blue waters from the ship's window. The planet looked beautiful, and she felt a sense of calm wash over her. This place is perfect for a new beginning, she thought. Once they landed, Zara took a moment to collect herself before stepping onto the planet's surface. The air was fresh, and the scent of flowers filled her lungs. She felt a sense of freedom as she walked on the soft grass. This is nice, she said to herself, smiling. Krog and the crew stayed close, giving Zara space but also ready to support her if needed. They set up a small camp near the meeting spot where they would wait for Captain Mark. We'll be nearby if you need us, Krog said, giving her a thumbs up. Zara stood alone, her heart pounding as she waited. The minutes felt like hours. She kept thinking about what she would say to Captain Mark. Will he understand my feelings? Will he see me as more than just a pirate? Finally, she saw a figure approaching in the distance. As he got closer, Zara recognized Captain Mark. He looked serious but also excited, and her heart skipped a beat. He's here, she whispered to herself. When Captain Mark reached her, he smiled warmly. Zara, it's good to see you in person, he said, his voice deep and inviting. Zara felt a rush of warmth at his words. You too, Captain. I'm glad we could meet. They stood there for a moment, both unsure of what to say next. Zara took a deep breath and decided to be honest. I've thought a lot about our last conversation. I really want to understand more about you and your world. Mark nodded, his expression serious. I appreciate that. I want to understand you too. It's not every day I meet a pirate who wants to change. Zara smiled, feeling a little more at ease. I didn't want to be just a thief anymore. I want to connect with others, especially with you. Mark's eyes softened. I feel the same way. I'm curious about your life as a pirate and what led you to steal from us. They began to walk through the beautiful landscape, talking and sharing stories. Zara told him about her life on the ship, the thrill of being a pirate, and the loneliness she often felt. Mark shared his experiences as a captain, the challenges he faced, and the bonds he had with his crew. As they walked, Zara felt her nerves begin to fade. Captain Mark listened intently, and she appreciated how he took her seriously. He really wants to know me, she thought, her heart warming. After some time, they stopped to sit under a large tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. This place is beautiful, Mark said, looking around. I'm glad we chose Verda. Zara nodded in agreement. It feels peaceful here, like we can be ourselves. Mark looked at her, his eyes serious. I want you to know that I see you for who you are. You're not just a pirate to me. You're someone who wants to change and grow. Zara's heart raced at his words. Thank you, Mark. That means a lot to me. I want to be more than what I was. They talked for hours, sharing stories and laughter. Zara felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She realized that she could be herself around Captain Mark. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over Verda, Zara felt a sense of hope growing within her. This meeting was more than just a chance to talk. It was a step toward a new beginning. She wanted to explore this connection with Mark, to see where it could lead. Before they parted ways, Zara took a deep breath and decided to take a risk. Mark, can we keep in touch? I want to learn more about you and your crew. He smiled, his eyes bright with excitement. Of course, Zara. I'd like that. Let's explore this together. With that promise, Zara felt a rush of joy. She was ready to reach out, to build a new life with new connections. As they said their goodbyes, Zara realized that this was just the start of something amazing. New choices. Zara returned to the Shadow Raider with a heart full of hope. Her meeting with Captain Mark had changed everything. She felt lighter, as if she could finally breathe after being trapped in a life of stealing. The stars outside sparkled like diamonds, and for the first time, she saw them as symbols of new beginnings. As the ship lifted off from Verda, Krog and the crew gathered around her, eager to hear about her meeting. What happened? How did it go? Krog asked, his eyes wide with curiosity. Zara smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. It was amazing. Captain Mark and I talked for hours. He wants to understand more about pirates and our lives. The crew exchanged glances, surprised by her enthusiasm. Really? He seems open-minded, Krog said, impressed. Yes, he sees me for who I am, not just a pirate. He wants to keep in touch, Zara replied, her excitement bubbling over. That's great. Another crew member shouted, clapping her hands. Maybe this could lead to something good for us. Zara's heart swelled with hope. I believe it can. I want to explore this connection. It feels different, like a chance to be more than I was. As they traveled through space, Zara couldn't stop thinking about her conversation with Mark. She realized she had a choice to make. Would she continue the life of a pirate, or would she take a risk and pursue something new? When they arrived back at their usual hideout, Zara gathered the crew in the common room. I want to talk to all of you, she began, her voice steady. I've been thinking about our future. I want to make some changes. Krog looked at her, concern in his eyes. What do you mean, Zara? Are you saying you want to leave the crew? No, not at all, she replied quickly, shaking her head. I want to make choices that lead us to a better life. I've learned that we can be more than just pirates. We can build connections and explore new possibilities. Some crew members exchanged worried glances. But what if we lose everything? What if this doesn't work out? One of them asked, voicing their fears. Zara took a deep breath, her heart racing. I understand the risks, but think about it. We've been running and stealing for so long. What if we could work with others instead? What if we could become allies with humans like Captain Mark? Krog nodded, beginning to see her point. But how do we do that? We don't know how to fit into their world. That's the first step, Zara said, her voice filled with determination. We need to learn. We can reach out to Captain Mark and his crew, ask for guidance. We can start building relationships instead of just taking. The crew fell silent, considering her words. Zara could see the doubt in their eyes, but she also saw a flicker of hope. I know it's a big change, but I believe we can do this together. I don't want to be just a pirate anymore. I want to be part of something bigger, she urged. After a moment, Krog spoke up. You're right, Zara. We've been living in the shadows for too long. Maybe it's time to step into the light. The others nodded, slowly coming around to her idea. If we're going to do this, we need to be smart, another crew member added. We can't just rush into things. Agreed, Zara said, feeling a wave of relief. We'll take it slow. We'll start with Captain Mark and his crew. Let's show them we can be trusted. With their plan taking shape, Zara felt a renewed sense of purpose. The next day, she sent a message to Captain Mark, inviting him and his crew to meet them. Let's see how they respond, she thought, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. As the days passed, Zara and her crew prepared for the meeting. They cleaned the ship, stocked up on supplies, and even practiced what they would say. Zara felt a mix of nerves and hope. This is our chance, she reminded herself. Finally, the day arrived. Zara stood at the entrance of the Shadow Raider, watching as Captain Mark and his crew approached. Her heart raced as she stepped forward to greet them. Welcome to our ship, she said, trying to sound confident. Mark smiled, his eyes bright with curiosity. Thanks for inviting us, Zara. It's good to see you again. As they settled down to talk, Zara felt a sense of unity growing. We want to explore a new path, she began. We don't want to be just pirates anymore. We want to learn and build relationships. Mark listened carefully, nodding. "That's a brave choice, Zara. I admire your courage. I think we can help each other." As they discussed their ideas, Zara felt a warmth spread through her. This was what she had wanted, a chance to connect and grow. She realized that she was no longer just a pirate. She was becoming something more. The conversation flowed easily, and Zara felt the tension fade away. They shared stories, laughed, and made plans for future collaborations. Zara could see the excitement in her crew's eyes as they began to embrace this new path. By the end of the meeting, Zara felt a sense of hope that she had never known before. She had made a choice, and it was leading her toward a brighter future. As they said their goodbyes, she felt a sense of unity with Captain Mark and his crew. Zara knew that the journey ahead would be challenging, but she also knew she wouldn't face it alone. Together, they could build a new life, one filled with connections, understanding, and adventure. With that thought in mind, Zara looked up at the stars, ready to embrace whatever came next. She was on the path to discovering who she truly was, and she was excited for the journey ahead. A new start. Zara stood on the deck of the Shadow Raider, gazing out at the stars. The night sky was filled with bright lights, and each one felt like a new opportunity. After weeks of preparing and planning, she was ready for a new start. The changes she had dreamed of were finally happening. The crew had worked hard to improve their ship and their way of life. They had cleaned every corner, stocked up on supplies, and even learned new skills. Zara felt proud of her crew. They were no longer just pirates. They were becoming a team ready to face the unknown. Today was a special day. Captain Mark and his crew were coming to visit again. They had planned a joint mission to help a nearby planet that was struggling. Zara had never imagined she would be doing something like this, and the thought filled her with excitement. As she waited, Krog approached her, a big grin on his face. "Are you ready for this, Zara?" he asked, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. "Yes, I am," Zara replied, her heart racing. "This is our chance to show that we can be more than just thieves." The crew gathered around, buzzing with energy. Zara looked at each of them, feeling a sense of unity. "We've come a long way, and today will prove that we can make a difference," she said, her voice strong. Just then, a signal came from Captain Mark's ship. Zara's heart skipped a beat. "They're here," she shouted, her excitement bubbling over. As the Starseeker docked alongside the Shadow Raider, Zara felt a mix of nerves and joy. Captain Mark stepped off his ship with a friendly smile. "Ready to save the day," he joked, making everyone laugh. "Yes, we are," Zara replied, her confidence growing. They quickly got to work, combining their crews. Captain Mark explained the situation on the planet, telling them about the food shortages and the struggles of the local people. Zara listened carefully, feeling the weight of their responsibility. "We have supplies and skills we can share," Mark said. "Let's work together to help them." Zara felt a sense of purpose. "We'll do everything we can." "Let's get started," she said, eager to take action. The teams split up into groups. Some went to gather supplies, while others prepared the ship for the journey. Zara worked alongside Mark, sharing ideas and strategies. They were in sync, moving with a shared goal. It felt right. As they flew towards the planet, Zara looked out at the stars again, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. "This is really happening," she thought. When they arrived, the planet looked different than she had imagined. It was beautiful but troubled. Zara could see the struggles of the people as they landed. There were children playing, but their faces were thin, and their smiles looked tired. Zara felt a wave of determination wash over her. "We're here to help," she called out as they approached the village. The villagers gathered around, their eyes filled with curiosity and hope. Zara noticed an older woman who stepped forward, her face kind but worn. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice shaky. "We are in need." Zara nodded, her heart full of compassion. "We brought food and supplies. We want to help your village." The woman smiled, tears welling in her eyes. "You are our hope." "Thank you." Together, Zara, Mark, and their crews distributed food and supplies. They worked hand in hand with the villagers, learning about their struggles and hopes. Zara felt her heart swell with joy as she watched the children's faces light up when they received food. As the day went on, Zara realized how rewarding it was to help others. She was no longer just a pirate. She was part of something meaningful. She felt a sense of belonging, a feeling she had longed for. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Zara gathered everyone around. "Today was just the beginning," she said, her voice strong. "We can continue to help and build connections. Together, we can create a better future." The villagers cheered, and Zara's heart soared. She could see hope in their eyes, and it made her feel powerful. Later that night, as Zara sat around a fire with Captain Mark and the villagers, she felt at peace. They shared stories and laughter, forging bonds that felt unbreakable. Zara realized that this was what she had been searching for all along, a place where she belonged, a purpose that mattered. As the stars twinkled above them, Zara felt grateful. She had made the right choice. She had taken a risk, and it was paying off. She was no longer just a pirate. She was part of a new family, one built on trust and friendship. Zara looked at Captain Mark, who smiled back at her. "You did a great job today, Zara. I'm proud of you," he said, and her heart swelled with joy. "Thank you, Mark. I couldn't have done it without you and the crew," she replied, feeling a deep sense of connection. As the fire crackled and the night grew darker, Zara knew that this was just the start of their journey. Together, they would continue to explore, help others, and build a future filled with hope. With the stars shining brightly above, Zara felt a new sense of purpose. She was ready for whatever came next, knowing that she was no longer alone. Together with Captain Mark and their new friends, she was ready to face the universe, one adventure at a time.